start this meeting. And we've got a fairly light agenda. You know, we had four board action items, but I think we're going to get through this meeting pretty quickly today. So starting right off, I'll read our time policy procedures and welcome everyone to take time out of their schedules on Tuesday evening, especially after a really nice holiday weekend. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to open a list of participants. Raise hand icon by their name if you're on virtually. When recognized by the chair, as comments to the chair, remarks should not exceed 3 minutes. Please cancel the raise hand sign after you've done speaking. Presentations must be kept under 10 minutes. The chat box can also be used for simple questions, and board members are required to keep their video active during this time. And please silence your phones. The board may take action on any agenda item as required by the state sunshine law. Specific issues not noted on the agenda cannot be voted on unless added to the agenda. Board actions such as draft resolutions and outgoing letters were posted on the Google Drive. Okay, so moving on with our roll call for our board members. Kekuni Apard.
Here.
Rodney A. Wong.
Here.
Charmaine Doran.
Here.
Guy Inouye.
Here.
Brendan Lee. Dion Mesta. Dion's going to be phoning in. Junior's not going to make it today. Dan Smith. Nate Tegaguchi. Tony Velasco. And myself, Larry Verrey. We have quorum. All right. First things up right now is Honolulu Fire Department. And welcome.
Well, Kako, good evening. My name is Firefighter 1 Wasserman from the Wild Fire Station right down the street. And we're going to go over some of the incidents for the month of April 2024, as well as some fire safety tips for you tonight. So for our fires, we had 1 structure fire, 1 brush fire, 3 nuisance fires, and 5 activated alarms. As far as other emergencies, we had 136 medicals, 13 motor vehicle crashes or collisions, and 1 hazardous materials incident for the month of April. Our fire safety tip this month is going to be wildland fire awareness. As we all know, wildland fires significantly threaten Hawaii's landscape, wildlife, and communities. So dry conditions and everyday activities contributing to the increased risk. It's crucial to take proactive measures to prevent and mitigate wildland fires. So some tips for you is we want everyone to lighten the load. This means to reduce fuels and the possibility of ignition of your landscape by maintaining your yard and cleaning your gutters. We want clear, cool, and contain. This means clear vegetation 10 feet around campfires and barbecues. Keep a shovel and water nearby and make sure you put them out cold before walking away. We also want to watch the spark. This means ensure machinery like chainsaws, weed whackers, and recreational vehicles with operating spark arresters are maintained regularly. And if you do want to find any other information, we do encourage everyone to check our online resources at HFD. You can do fire.honolulu.gov. Department of Emergency Management is honolulu.gov/DEM, DEM, or Hawaii Wildfire Management is hwmo.org/lookout. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you very much for the advice, especially on wildfires. And we're hoping everyone in Momilani and especially the Waiau area and Pacific Palisades will have those cutbacks for the yards by the hill. That's where probably our biggest threats are. And of course, I'll be working with the IA Neighborhood Board because where the driving range ends, there's a homeless encampment. And where there's a homeless encampment, that gives you a much higher risk of an accidental fire. But thank you so much. Board members, any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department? Go ahead, Dan.
Very briefly, not for tonight, but for the microphones, they can hear you back. If you could recommend kind of
plants that we could plant instead of this, 6-foot grass or something, we pull that out and put down something that's, won't grow, preferably native. To-
As far as,
For a future,
can't really go into specific plants, but just make sure there's no dry shrubs or brush, because those are easily ignitable. But that's a good question. I will get back to you next month with those specific type of plants that we'd recommend.
Any other questions by board members? Go with there, Rodney.
Yeah. You as a firefighter, what kind of equipment, because I'm an equipment kind of guy, what equipment would you recommend? See, we have some state legislatures over here. What kind of equipment would you recommend to them that you would be in need of to fight wildfires? I mean, I got a picture of, I got a couple, pieces of equipment that I wish we had. But in your opinion, what would you suggest?
As far as the department itself or?
Just overall, just, rather, just personal. What would you like to see firefighters equipped up with?
As far as our individual truck goes for Engine 38, we're pretty well equipped to fight brush fires. We have the hoses, we have other manual devices that we use. So as far as the equipment itself, I think we're pretty much ready to go in time we do run into brush fires, which we often do, especially in the summer months.
Right. Now, what about air support?
Air support, we do have air support when needed as well. Yeah, as far as air support goes, I think we're well equipped as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I recommended in the past that, they upgrade the air support, to a point where, similar to mainland fighting fires, where they actually have aircraft that go down and scoop up the water and then drop it on, And then I think in Mililani wildfires, the Malco wildfires, they actually brought in some of the hot shots from the mainland, if I remember it. So, something like that, especially, with the state side, I think we recommended to them before that there be a statewide wildfire fighter brigade that could go to any island. It didn't matter what island it was, and they would be part of the solution.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other board members, seeing none virtually, community? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next month. Okay, moving on to Honolulu Police Department, and I see HPD is up virtual. Welcome.
Yes. Good evening, Pro City Neighborhood Board. I'm Lieutenant Glenn Iwasaki. I'm the Night Watch Commander here in District 3 Pro City. And I'll first read the reported incidents. So March 2024, we had 7 motor vehicle thefts, reduced down to 5 in April. Burglaries were 2. In April 2024, we had 3. The thefts reduced drastically. March 2024, we had 30. In April 2024, we had 4. And unlawful entry into motor vehicles, which is car break-ins, we had 10 in March 2024 and reduced down to 9 in April. The safety tip of the month is yield to approaching vehicles while crossing, even if you have the right of way. So crossing the street is a two-way street. The pedestrian should make eye contact with the driver of the vehicle. And also the driver should make eye contact with the pedestrian. And it's, like I said, a two-way street to communicate non-vocally and cross the street safely. But in addition to that, I wanted to introduce to the Pro City Neighborhood as well the crime mapping that we have on honolulupd.org, the public site. So I've been doing all the neighborhood board meetings and just reading numbers. And reading numbers, it doesn't really mean anything. So this crime mapping, if you log on to honolulupd.org, you go to info and resources and click on crime mapping. It's a real fun tool to use. You can like highlight a certain area. You can type in a certain area. If you're moving to a neighborhood or in your own neighborhood, you can look up from a, whatever time element you want for a year, 2 years time, and it'll map out all the crimes that happen in that area. So even these 10 car break-ins, 9 car break-ins, if you put March 24 to April 24, it'll map it out where these crimes occurred. It doesn't have the specific address, but it does state where it occurred, which I think is a useful tool for the public to have. That way you can be more vigilant. You can know what's going on in your neighborhood, and pretty much every case except car accidents, every case, robberies, assaults, thefts, it'll be on that crime map. So, and I believe the crime mapping site is partnering with the military too, so it'll include the military bases as well soon, I believe. So I just wanted to introduce that instead of just coming and reading 30 compared to 4 and stuff like that. At least we can specify where these crimes occurred.
Yeah, Lieutenant, that crimemapping.com, I'm the Neighborhood Security Watch Coordinator for Waiau. I'm glued to that site because that really gives you a good idea, and you can do predictive analysis on where, because I'm always alerting our neighbors, for them to be on the alert for those car break-ins and burglaries. Burglaries especially. They move around, they hit different areas. But thank you for bringing that up to the public. You have any more to provide to us, or you want me to move on then?
No, that's it. Yeah, if there's any questions, I can answer those questions.
Okay, and I'll start off here. I do have one issue I want to bring up. I watched the news last night, and of course, this board has been really strong against illegal aerial fireworks all these years. And I'm greatly concerned about the Eva Beach individual that was assaulted. Today we saw it on the news, and what was disheartening is, they showed a picture of the guy beat up in the hospital and everything, but there was nothing to give HPD any positive press to say what was the result. Did they arrest anybody? There was nothing. So I heard it again, I think it was this morning, and there's just nothing. And that's not good for HPD. And I was wondering, well, I could probably predict that the homeowner, as soon as this gentleman gets out of the hospital, the lawyers are going to be like leeches on him because he's got an opportunity to engage one of his neighbors who supported that party. And of course, the neighborhood, you heard the interviews on TV. They can't handle the fire. So we're going to continue these issues. And neighbors need to respect each other. And we just got to figure that way ahead. Board members, any questions for HPD? Okay, none. How about virtually? I can't see. Okay, Donald Sakamoto. Donald, welcome.
Here.
Donald's a good friend of mine from Kaneohe Neighborhood Board.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
I got you good, Donald.
Okay. I just want to ask 2 questions regarding the crime mapping. I talked to Chief Logan months ago about the crime mapping not being accessible for myself who are blind and others to get the information because it's all graphic. So he was going to work with the vendor that he had. And I just want to know if that was updated. And on the windward side, we've been getting a lot of speeding hot rod vehicles, maybe 20 to 25, coming from IEA Pearl City over to the Verano tunnels to the wind side on District 4. And I called this past Sunday at 1:09 a.m. on Sunday to report these vehicles, and they were heading back. So I just wanted to know if District 3 was taking care of these individuals who are speeding on the H3 at early mornings.
Yes, definitely, Mr. Sakamoto. So in Pro City, for my watch personally, we have a project going for those speeders. It's been a problem for years now, and Council Member Elefante brought it up to us as well. The people in Pro City's been disturbed by the noise and especially the dangerous speeds that these people race at. So we have the traffic division out there. It's not every night, but they do work, I believe, Tuesday through Saturdays, enforcing these racers. And it's like maybe like 250 cars sometimes we count in that pack. So we've been enforcing it. We've been arresting these individuals for racing, and they've been given high bails too when they do get arrested. But it's still a problem. So we have a project going in Pro City right now for our guys to go out there and enforce that with partnering with the traffic division. So we'll be continuing that enforcement. Yeah, and they drive through from District 4, which is your side, Kaneohe, all the way to Mililani, going out to Kapolei, turning around. And so our officers have access to their public social media sites. So we see where they're meeting up, and we try to also communicate with them too and go talk to them and try to prevent it. But yeah, it's been an ongoing problem. So we are addressing that. Yes, and I can find out also the crime mapping if any updates were made to, and I'll bring it to the next meeting.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you very
Lieutenant
much.
Wasaki, we'll probably take that up and help out all our disabled, blind. They need to have access to that as well, and we just need to put it in writing, stating a requirement. If board members, any other questions for HPD? Seeing none virtual. Okay, go ahead, Rodney.
Oh, yeah. Hi, officer. I just was wondering, now that we're getting more e-bikes on the highways and the roadways, is there any licensing that these, bikes need to have before they can go on the highway and the roadways?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we just had a flyer come out to all the officers with some laws, but it's still in that gray area where it cannot be licensed. It's considered, to me, it should be considered a motor vehicle. Some of them go over 80 miles per hour, and they're on the sidewalk with these. They're considered, I guess, like dirt bikes, but they're still considered just an e-bike, like a toy. So there is no licensing for it, as far as I know right now. There are some laws, safety laws that we've been enforcing, and trying to educate these, that these kids that are using it. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it cannot be licensed right now. But because they're considered bicycles, they are allowed to be on our streets. So yeah, that's something that I believe they have to work on and start creating laws for that. Because yeah, these guys on the sidewalk, someone's gonna get hurt, and there have been a lot of accidents happening already. So yeah, that's something that I think really we have to work together to make laws to enforce this.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to take that up also as stating another requirement for a law related with that. I don't see any other board members with a question, so Paul. By yourself.
Hi, Tom from Palisades. You mentioned that with the Crime Stop website right now, currently we can't search through car accidents on the road. I was wondering if that's something you guys would be moving into adding to the website. I think it'll be very beneficial for us to know like how many accidents, because I'm still hoping to get Komomai fixed, but nothing's been done there. But I'd like to know like it's a dangerous road, and for the community, like what areas are like high risk in driving. Appreciate your time.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point. I'll bring it up to
Might have to use that.
the people that's running the crime mapping, because the Waipahu Neighborhood Board also brought that up as well, the same suggestion that we have motor vehicle collisions on there. So yeah, that would be a good tool to have to see where all these accidents are happening, and it could show a pattern as well, that where we need to enforce more, or if there's signs that need to be posted. So I'll bring that up, and yeah, I'll update you guys on the next meeting if we can get motor vehicle collisions on there, or if there's a reason why they don't put that on there.
Okay, Lieutenant, thank you so much. And I wanted to ask if I could come in and visit with you one evening since you got the night shift. Is this routine during the weekday?
Yeah. You can email me or I can email you and we can connect when I'm working.
Okay, I'll find time. I
Yeah,
do.
sounds good.
Okay, no other question? We got one question for HPD. Please identify yourself.
Colette, just a neighbor down there. But the back, my backyard is Waimano Home Road. And is there any way an officer can just kind of hang out? Because people go up there so fast. It's crazy. We've had so many accidents at that Waimano Home Road and Ho'omoana Street. Like all nights, all day. Before it was just mostly nights, but now even during the day, like they just speed up there, speed down, running through the red lights. I mean, it's crazy. Somebody's gonna get banged again, you know? You gotta do something. My husband calls you all the time. Is there any way anybody can stay out there and just kind of hang so people know that you guys are watching or what, you know? It's not like the other side where you can hide and, you know, gun them because it's straight away, right? But these guys have to know that, you know, and it's not just young kids, they're like my age, you know, or, you know, 40s, 30-year-olds, you know, it's not just the young ones, you know, and big trucks just, woof. I mean, my whole house shakes when they go up. It's crazy. You know, I don't know. It just pisses me off.
Okay, Colette.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what these neighborhood board meetings are for. So, I'll have my guys and I'll email it out to the day watch as well. But I'll have my guys go and enforce that because, to tell you the truth, this is the first time I'm hearing it. So, it doesn't come through me sometimes. But yeah, Waimana Home Road, Ho'omoana, I'll have my guys enforce it as part of the speed project that we're doing. So we can add that onto the speed project and we can have the guys out there. So. Yeah, and then we'll give you an update on the next meeting as well. So I'll get the guys on there.
And Colette, it's all over Pearl City, the same thing. If there's not enough police officers, we need to bring in technology and we'll have cameras, futures, have speed measuring devices. That's coming. Okay, no other questions. HPD, Lieutenant, thank you so much. And we'll see you next month and I'll see you soon. Get on your evening schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to public testimony. Got 3 minutes. Any issues from the community? If you'd like to come up and address those. Anybody? All right, Tom, back up. And the signs are coming.
Okay, I'll cancel that
One
question.
coin.
Actually, back on Tucumã Mai, I brought it up a few months ago and I brought it up the meeting with the mayor. And I don't feel like anything's being done in regards to repairing our guardrails, our fences. They fixed the lights, that's great, but those things like rolling into a quarter of the year and not too long ago, reading the article about $18.2 million has been allocated to people that lost their lives because the guardrail wasn't repaired. I don't want our community to fall into that category. I'd like to see that money spent in other things, so just want to get a follow-up on getting our rail guards and our street signs repaired. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll follow up on that. Any other issues to bring up? Colette, you got any more?
You know, the road, like the grass is long, you know, on the sides, it just, even on, what is that? I don't know that name of the street, Moanaloa. Yeah, the road it's horrible. It's like, like, I don't know. I don't like it. I tell my husband, go out there and just weed whack it. Who cares? He goes, I'm not going out there by myself.
Well,
the
the city and the state's responsible for
I
that.
know.
And I usually get the phone calls from the seniors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
If it's a state road, it usually gets fixed pretty quick. The city ones, it takes a little more
yeah.
time. But
The bus stops, they're so dirty. I
but
mean,
where we really need help is people that live on corners, those easements that are there. They don't like to cut the high grass that's there. They feel it's not their property, it's the city's, and the city just can't.
yeah, well, they came to us and they told us that.
Yeah.
Don't they go to them too? Like, Do they send them a notice? They send
Well,
us a
actually, those
notice?
fees can go to them. Just, we haven't had, after the last 250 that were issued, we haven't had any in a while. Our vice had one with the city,
Yeah, okay,
but we noted, and I'll make some phone calls on behalf of that.
okay, thanks.
And also my email address, you can shoot me an email, specific intersections.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, we're going to try to pick up this meeting a little bit. Okay, we're going to move on to board business. And the first line of business that we have, it's to initiate an outgoing letter to DTS. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to our vice chair, Charmaine Doran. She's the one that actually has been compiling the issues around not only signage needing in our elementary schools, our wild boar signs needed for Pacific Palisades. And in that same letter, we might be able to put the guardrail, put it all in one because it needs to be done. It's public safety. So Charmaine, are you ready?
Sir. Can you hear me?
I got you.
All right. This letter requests that the city and state work together to increase school zone signage near Palisades Elementary to increase and keep public safety at a high level. And I'm requesting this letter after I witnessed some impatient drivers driving over the median. There's been some minor conflicts and, you know, people
No, we're good.
should be waiting and they're not. And I think some crosswalk signage and maybe additional or flashing speed limit zone or school zone signage might help. There is one school zone sign on one side of the road, but the other one is this sign behind me. And while it's a cute sign, I don't think it meets the standard that is probably needed to remind drivers every day when they're entering the school zone. With that said, move to approve.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, any other discussions? Is Brandon, do you have discussion on there? Nope, okay. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote on it because I want to put Rich into the letter to show the board was almost 100%. Cooney? Rodney?
Aye.
Charmaine?
Aye.
Guy?
Aye.
Brendan? Okay. Dan? Okay, Nate? Tony? And myself, aye. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got for yes and 1 abstention. And the motion passes.
Mr. Chair, this is Dion. I'll also be voting aye.
Oh, I didn't know, Dion, you were on. Can I get your vote?
Aye.
Okay, so it makes it 8 yeses and 1 abstention. Okay. No, 9. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Oh, Dan Smith. Forgot to put him on there. Okay, we got 9. All right, thank you. All right, moving on to the next resolution. Okay, I have really been hit up by the community about the increasing insurance limit premiums that are going up. I live in a condo association. Ours doesn't get reviewed till November, so we're good till then. But we've got shocking information with some of the townhomes with their premiums going up 276%. And the first townhome to get that is in Waiau that I'm aware of. I know we've had Eva Beach and Kapolei, but it's going from $100,000 a year premium to a $300,000 a year premium. And families can't afford that. So we decided we're going to send a message here to the governor, and we're asking him to see if they can fit their, I know it's an issue, and our legislators would probably jump into this as well, but there needs to be a cap on this. They can't raise it that much, especially the billions of dollars they sucked out of us all these years that we've lived in our condo. So Brendan, can you please present that resolution?
Mr. Chair, I move that the Pearl City Neighborhood Board pass a resolution urging the governor to limit insurance premium rate increases for condominium and residential homes because of the potential catastrophic negative impact on residents who will be forced onto the street because they can't afford huge insurance policy increases. Whereas the Pearl City Neighborhood Board number 21 is receiving great concerns from several condominium associations and residents who have single-family homes alerting of shocking insurance premium rates going up as much as 276% for an annual premium with very short notice. And insurance companies are raising their, is my mic dying? Insuring premiums as high as $300,000 a year for low density condominiums and high-rise buildings, taking big increases on top of the $600 to $700 maintenance fees homeowners currently pay monthly. And whereas making matters worse, homeowners are paying these huge increases and passing this negative impact to their tenants who already are paying high rental rates for condominiums and single-family homes, potentially forcing tenants onto streets because they can't afford the significant rate increases. And whereas insurance companies blame the rise in costs on the numerous natural disasters that occurred over this past year, to include the Maui wildfires, causing the insurance companies $3 billion in big payouts. Whereas condominium associations did not budget for these huge increases in their reserve funds, forcing them to perform assessments as high as $2,500 per homeowner, or significantly raise their maintenance fees to cover the monthly insurance premiums. And whereas residential families have not budgeted or prepared for these huge increases with retired seniors on fixed incomes, and it is expected that many seniors will be forced onto the streets. Be it resolved, although Hawaii lawmakers are seeking ways to stabilize Hawaii condominium insurance markets against these sharply rising increases in premiums and declining availability of hurricane insurance that had severely impacted the housing market. And be it further resolved, the Pearl City Neighborhood Board strongly urges the governor to employ emergency legislation to put a reasonable cap on rising insurance premiums that could potentially put thousands of residents on the streets, or as another alternative, leave Hawaii. And be it finally resolved that the Pearl City Neighborhood Board requests that copies of this resolution be distributed to Governor Green, Hawaii State Legislature, Mayor Blangiardi, City and County, and all neighborhood boards.
Thank you, Brendan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Hey, Rodney? Okay, for discussion, legislators, would you like to make any comments on this?
Aloha, Chair, board members. I will say that it was a little surprising that we didn't pass anything this past session. I wasn't part of the negotiation during conference. However, I do understand that both leaders of the chambers, both the House and Senate, have stated today during their spotlight, during that podcast on Hawaii News Now, that they said publicly that they're open to coming back for a special session in the very near future. So that's all I can report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Carino. Do you have any other comments there, Representative Takayama?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I would just add that there is currently a task force studying the issue to come up with possible solutions, because it's a problem, not just in our area, it's a problem nationwide. And so there is a task force appointed last session by the Speaker and the Senate President to look into this, and they are supposed to come back with recommendations for us this coming session. So,
do you guys feel the board is acting accordingly, stating our strong requirement?
Oh, no,
take action?
I absolutely understand the financial burden it puts on condominium owners. I would just caution, though, that setting a cap, attempting to set a cap on insurance rates can also have the effect of driving insurers out of the market. So.
Hey, Rodney, you got the discussion item?
Yeah, thank you, Senator. there's a saying that I go by as far as insurance companies are concerned. I don't want to be a policyholder. I want to be a shareholder because that's basically what it is. It's an investment company. As a young man working at Holiday Mart before it was Dae and Don Quixote, there was an insurance company that used to sell insurance inside there. A lot of car insurance, a lot of homeowners insurance. And then they had a big fallout where a disaster had happened. And within 1 week, the offices was closed up. So, I understand what's going on. And, we got to have it, whether we like it or not. It's one of those insurances that we'd rather not use. But if they can be held accountable and not disappear, 2 weeks after a major disaster has happened. So that's why we look to you guys to help us out on this one, you know what I mean? Because it's like gas prices. You got something going on overseas, next thing you know, gas is going up 25, 50 cents. We got a wildfire going on in Lahaina, next thing you know, insurance rates are going sky high, and we did nothing, So, yeah, we look to you folks to, steady the boat and right the ship, and hopefully we can get something done.
No, you're absolutely right.
You
It's,
know.
it's a major
Yeah,
problem here.
and we got to hold them accountable, because they'll take the money and run. I mean, there's a lot of business that has done this in the past, take the money, 2 days later, they're gone, they're out the door, and we cannot do nothing. So, we look to you guys for the help.
Okay, Rodney, I'm going to call for if there are no other discussion,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead.
can I clarify for the previous speaker, was that speaking in favor or against the motion?
Yeah, go ahead. Senator, are you for this resolution?
No, they don't get a vote, Mr. Chair, so I don't really care what they think. The previous speaker, Rodney, will you?
Oh, yeah, I'm in favor. of
Okay,
this.
I just wanted to, right, this isn't a dialogue between us and our legislators. This is discussion about the motion before the board. That being said, Mr. Chair, I would like to propose several amendments. 3 to be exact, I'll take them one at a time. My first amendment is to amend the title to strike out who will be forced onto the street because they can't afford huge insurance. So urging the governor to limit insurance premium rates increases for condominium and residential homes because of the potential catastrophic negative impact on residents.
Can you switch mics? So we need to get you on the recording too,
Yeah, this is my third mic now.
because I'm not writing this down.
So it would be after negative impact on residents, it would strike the rest of the language from the title.
That's fine. I don't see any issues with that. That's the purpose of the reso is good. Board members, do anybody have any issues with changing the verbiage?
Well, Mr. Chair, I need a second.
Yeah, do I have a second? Okay. Rodney gave the second? Okay.
Can I give my reasoning, Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry, say again?
Can I give my reasoning for the amendment?
Yes, go ahead.
So while this is a good reso and we're trying to state in an affirmative or a strong language, making the statement that people will be forced onto the streets is an opinion. And we should just stick to facts. So,
That is a fact.
well, no, Mr. Chair, it's not. It's an opinion. It could be a negative impact, but we don't know that that will be an actual impact. So I think stating that it will have negative impacts on the rest of our residents is enough versus stating board members' opinions that people will be put out onto the street.
That. Okay, can I get a call for the vote to change the verbiage of striking out people will be moved on the streets? Okay, start with Cooney, yes or no? Okay, Rodney? Okay, Charmaine?
Aye.
Guy?
Aye.
Okay, Brendan? Okay, Dion,
Aye.
Dan, Nate, Tony, and I'm with you guys. Yes. Okay, so we'll change that verbiage. And after we get done later, I want to make sure we get the amendment correct. But right now, the purpose of that resolution, what's the other two? He's got two more? Okay, go ahead.
And given the last vote, Mr. Chair, I'll take both amendments up in one motion. The third whereas to strike out potentially forcing tenants on the streets because they can't afford the significant rent increases. So it would end at and single family homes, comma, and then one, two.
Does anybody oppose?
Well, I'm not done with my motion, Mr. Chair. And the sixth whereas striking out after fixed incomes, striking out, and it is expected that many seniors will be forced onto the streets. So it would instead end with retired citizens on fixed incomes, comma, and. So striking those two languages out from the third and the sixth whereas.
Okay, is that it?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. What was the second one again?
On the sixth whereas, so now read whereas residential families have not budgeted or prepared for these huge increases with retired citizens on fixed incomes. And the rest of the language would be striked and then it would say comma and.
Okay, we'll make those necessary changes. Are there any objections with making those last changes that Board Member Lee had recommended?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, my motion needs a second or it fails.
Okay, do I have a second? Rodney gave a second. Okay, any objections to making those changes? Hearing none? Okay, so we'll move on with that. Okay, I'm going to call for the vote for the resolution. Okay, Cooney? Rodney? Charmaine?
Aye.
Guy?
Aye.
Brendan? Dion?
Aye.
Dan? Nate? Tony? And I also have an aye. Thank you, Brendan, for those recommendations. Okay, moving on to the next, then that passes by unanimously. Okay, moving on to the third resolution, or I should say second resolution, which is, Tony, you want to go ahead and read that? And we'll move on with that.
Okay, the Pro City Neighborhood Board number 21 most strongly urges the governor not to sign Senate Bill 3202 passed by the Senate relating to the urban development that will negatively impact Pro City residents forever. Whereas Pro City, Kailua, and Diamond Head Kapahulu St. Louis Heights neighborhood boards are collaboratively all in agreement strongly opposing SB 3202 that will negatively impact their neighborhoods forever. Whereas SB 323 dictates that as minimum of 3 housing units must be allowed per existing residential lot, has taken away the county's ability to comprehensively plan for each county and the public's ability to participate in the planning process. And whereas SB 3202 would eliminate the county's ability to comprehensively plan for the health, safety, and welfare of its residents, because if enacted, this measure would mandate 3 or more housing units on residential lots as small as 2,000 square feet or less, which would further stress sewer capacity, street capacity, parking availability, pedestrian walkways, and bike lanes. And whereas there are many other constructive initiatives at both the state and county level that support the goal of the more affordable housing without creating the mandated harm to established neighborhoods that SB 3202 would, and now therefore be resolved that the residential lot for higher density envisioned and mandated by SB 323 will adversely impact Oahu's established residential by number one, encasing residential lots with impervious concrete that exponentially heats neighborhoods and surrounding communities increases destructive flooding and water runoff. Number two, compounding and amplifying noise disturbance factors. Number three, exacerbating parking problems and traffic congestion and gridlock within established neighborhoods and communities, particularly where the streets are commonly narrowed to a single traffic lane with off-site parking on both sides and where some urban roadways remain without sidewalks. Number four, eliminating the green space that is essential to the fabric of Hawaii's established neighborhoods. Number five, destroying and prohibiting necessary tree canopies that mitigate the increasing effects of climate change. And be it further resolved that the Pro Se Neighborhood Board strongly opposes the governor's signing or otherwise allowing SB 323 to be inactive as a dangerous quick fix to shortage of truly affordable housing by creating negative impacts on established neighborhoods and the quality of life of the people of Hawaii who did not plan or anticipate living in mandated high-density congested neighborhoods for the rest of their lives. And be resolved that the Pro Se Neighborhood Board requests that copies of this resolution be distributed to Governor Green, all members of the Hawaii State Legislature, Honolulu Mayor Blangiardi, and the Honolulu City Council, the Director Department of Planning and Permitting, and all neighborhood board chairs and members.
Thank you, Tony. Do I have a second? Okay. Okay, for discussion, the first thing, if our officials can tell me that, I think the governor signed it, was it yesterday or today?
Today,
Okay, so we're a day late, so we change our verbiage. I'm recommending board that we change our verbiage most strongly urges the governor not to sign to the Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21 is concerned with the possible results of Bill 3202 pass. Does that sound good for a change?
can you say that again, Mr. Chair?
Okay, that the Pearl City Neighborhood Board number 21 is concerned with the results of Senate Bill 3202 as stated. Instead of, because he's already signed it, so we're a day late.
Oh, I understand that. I actually was going to make a point of order that I don't think the resolution is proper anymore because he signed it today.
Yeah, but we're concerned about the results of this.
I agree, Mr. Chair. I'm just not sure that the rest of the resolution as written complies with the new title.
Okay, board members, do you want me to take this back and we'll go ahead and set it up for next month because it's already been done. It's a done deal. And we need to go on record in history that we were against this because what the potential results could be in the future for Pearl City. So
Chair.
Can I go ahead, Vice Chair?
So if you change the title as stated, and then you change the second resolve, remove that language about signing it, and you match other than that, other than that, it would be okay. Because you're making the change to the title, and as long as you make the resolve match, it should be okay. Because most of the language has to do with the numbers of, like you could also make a clarifying amendment to there's a typo right there. But I think reading it again, I think we could make the resolve in the title match, and it is a very important issue for those of us who live in single family, and I think the discussion will continue in the years ahead. So it might be good to get on record.
Okay, what the Vice Chair had recommended is that both the title and also the first be it further resolved to make those match with the title as I had stated. Does the board agree with that? Can I get a motion to approve that title change and with that resolve? Okay,
Move
do I have a
to
second?
approve. Second.
Okay, The resolve would be, the same. It would be, the Pearl City Neighborhood Board is concerned with the potential results of allowing SB 32 to be enacted for a dangerous quick fix. That would match the title. Okay, so can I get a vote on that one? Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, who gave the first motion? To make that for the amendment? Charmaine. And then, was it Rodney or Dan? Rodney? Rodney get the second? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll call. Well, maybe I'll do it this way. Are there any objections with the title change? Okay, so no objections, we'll move forward. Okay, this is a call for the vote for the resolution. This will put it on record. Cooney?
Aye.
Rodney? Charmaine?
Aye.
Guy?
Aye.
Brendan?
Aye.
Dion?
Aye.
Dan? Nate? Tony?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay, unanimous. Okay, moving to the last resolution. This one will be presented by Dan Smith. Go ahead, Dan.
Yes, this is a resolution. Microphone, please. Okay, this is a resolution urging the city and the state to integrate audible beaconing or signaling at traffic light intersections and roundabouts for disabled blind pedestrians. Do we need to read all of this?
No, I gave you what was highlighted.
That's almost the whole thing. Anyway, okay. Whereas the Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21 is receiving requests from our disabled blind residents. We're very concerned for our residents as they walk and cross at key Pearl City intersections where they shop in their neighborhood. And whereas the city and county of Honolulu has already tested and set the precedent for audible beaconing signals at intersections of Lileha Street and Kuakini Street, and at Nuuanu Avenue and Kuakini Street, where these audible beaconing signals have greatly helped disabled blind persons who live in Honolulu. Anyway, having similar facility beaconing or okay to we have the exact text, but would benefit elderly crossing at our crosswalks in Pearl City, allowing them to watch and hear these, allowing them to hear these beacon signals and timely respond to safe pedestrian crossing. And it's not in the text, but I think it's good for people who can't see, can see also, kind of wake us up. All right. And anyway, be it resolved, the United States, there's some evidence the United States is lagging behind several international countries who have integrated audible beaconing signals in their big cities, such as Sydney, Australia. That there's a great example of how there are audible beaconing signals that are at every crosswalk intersection in Sydney, and Hawaii needs to make this a priority for our disabled blind persons. Therefore, be it further resolved, the Pearl City Neighborhood Board strongly believes that federal funds are available to help expand this integration across our islands and should be placed in our state and city transportation planning, such as the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization Transportation Improvement Program considerations and future projects. So, and we also resolved that this be sent to the legislature, city council, Hawaii DOT, Department of Transportation Service, Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, and related citizens advisory committees, and the Hawaii Association of the Blind and all the other neighborhood boards. I think this is pretty simple, basic technology, and so I move for adoption.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Charmaine? And any discussion? Okay, we're going to call for the vote. Cooney? Rodney? Charmaine?
Aye.
Guy?
Aye.
Brendan? Dion?
Aye.
Dan? Nate? Tony? And myself. Unanimous. Okay, thank you so much. That this resolution will be brought up at the CAC meeting coming up, and Mr. Donald Sakamoto, we might be in partnership on this resolution with the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. But thank you, board members, and Brendan, thank you for the inputs on another resolution. We want to make sure these are the best written we can. Okay, moving on to Governor Green's office, and we've got Mr. Jeff Hickman here. Welcome, Jeff. Now we're going to get back on a roll.
Thank you, sir. Board. The governor was very appreciative yesterday. He attended the mayor's Memorial Day ceremony at the National Cemetery of the Pacific. And then he held his own ceremony out at the Hawaii State Veterans Cemetery. Some of the elected officials in the back were in attendance as well. Just wanted to say mahalo for all who attended on Memorial Day. It was also announced that my boss, Major General Hara, State Adjutant General, will be retiring 1 November. The Deputy Adjutant General is Brigadier General Logan, who's the brother of the Hawaii Honolulu Police Department Chief. So he's a former Adjutant General as well. So he'll be taking over starting in November. That's all I had. I'll share the newsletter again that the governor's office puts out. But if I have any questions, I can take them out.
Okay, thank you. Board members, any questions? Go ahead, Dan.
Yes, I know that the responsibility is to, how shall I say, spread out, but I would think that it would be good if we had some representative from the State Department of Education, DOE. Not necessarily the same person each time, but somebody who could carry word up to the proper authorities.
You brought it up in the past. I will follow up on that, sir.
Yeah, and we had a good turnout one time, but in some cases they could bring us issues where we could support them also. So a little dialogue, and is education the largest single state expenditure? I think it might be. So anyway, that would be my request. Thank you.
Okay, sir. I'll notate that. Thank you.
Hey, board members, any other questions? Seeing no hands up, virtual community? Seeing none. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Casey Abbey, are you online?
Yes, I am. Sure.
Well, welcome, Casey.
Here. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, good evening, Chair Verre and members of the Pro City Neighborhood Board, Casey Abbey from the State DOT Highways Division. I apologize for missing April's meeting, especially since the board was on recess in March. I do want to thank Chair Verre for his February 29th email about the homeless encampment on the H1 on-ramp, westbound, adjacent to a Navy Exchange garden shop. The encampment has been cleared and no homeless encampment has returned when I did my field inspection last Wednesday. I want to thank Senator Elefante for his May 22nd email about the overgrowth along Kamehameha Highway between Kaumana Street and Pu'uponi Street. After doing a quick field investigation on the 22nd, I'm working with our Oahu District maintenance on when they can clear the overgrowth. I'll need to report back at next month's meeting. I also want to thank Representative Takayama for his April 13th email from Ms. Burley Willis concerning the median strips on Kamehameha Highway in Pro City. She noticed that in Waipahu on Fountain Highway, the median strips are well maintained and gives a feeling of calmness and security that increases the property value, which is exactly the opposite of Pro City. She's asking what can be done to improve the situation of the median strips through Pro City. These pictures were taken last Friday. The median strip along Fountain Highway in Waipahu was maintained by Hart and their private landscaping contractor while Hart was constructing the new skyline. Effective February 1st of this year, Hart returned Fountain Highway back to the Highways Division, so our Oahu maintenance crew is now responsible for maintaining the landscaping along Fountain Highway. It's the same Leeward crew that maintains Kamehameha Highway area in Pro City. Due to the manpower shortage, the Leeward crew is having a hard time keeping up with the overgrowth throughout the Leeward area. These pictures along Kalaniʻi Highway was taken this past Saturday, where the Highways Division has a private landscaping contractor to maintain the Neighborhood Board Number 2 Kuli'o Kalaniʻiki area due to manpower shortage. The Pro City and the Waipahu neighborhood boards can write a letter to our director or ask the elected officials to talk to our director about hiring a private landscaping contractor to improve the landscaping, especially the mini strip along Kamehameha Highway and Fountain Highway, since these areas are similar to Kalaniʻi Highway. Then our Leeward maintenance crew will have more time with maintaining other areas that do not have a median strip. Also, during my field investigation last week, I noticed a homeless encampment has returned under the H1 viaduct. I'm working with our homeless coordinator and hope to have the encampment removed and trash cleaned up by this Friday. I'm also working with our Oahu district with repairing the holes in the fence. As mentioned at the February meeting, I noticed the green left turn arrow at Kaumana Street intersection for motorists making the left turn into Blaisdell Park was out. During my field investigation last Wednesday, I noticed the green left turn arrow is still out. So I'd like to ask the city's representative, Director Albano, if he can follow up with the city's DTS, Traffic Signal Division, to replace the burnt out green left turn arrow. Thank you, Director Albano. I also noticed graffiti artists returned, so we're working our maintenance crew to address the graffiti. And on Thursday, May 9th, we had a news release mentioning about our H1 freeway, Pearl City, and Waimalu Viaduct improvement project that started on Tuesday night, May 14th. Work started at the westbound lanes of the Pearl City Viaduct. Construction is being done at night from Tuesday nights through Sunday mornings with 3 to 4 lanes closed each night. Some of you may have experienced the lane closure, but we'll be installing a 3/4-inch hybrid polymer concrete overlay on the entire length of the Pearl City and Waimalu viaducts to prevent cracking and preserving the concrete deck. Then a high friction material will be applied to the roadway to provide additional traction and improve safety for motorists during adverse conditions. And at the February meeting, I asked the board or the elected officials if they could contact our director and our Hart executive director to quickly resolve which agency would take the lead on the design and construction of installing the new signalized left turn lane at Koala Street. This would allow us to open the currently closed off ramp as shown in this slide. I'm not sure who reached out to our director or the Hart executive director, but I'd like to thank the board member or elected official because I was informed that our traffic branch will be taking the lead and managing the consultant who will be designing the new signalized left turn lane at Koala Street. But unfortunately, when I asked our traffic branch if they will allow left turn movements into Waihona Street, they mentioned the Hart did not consider this situation in their preliminary study. So for now, left turns into Waihona Street from the off-ramp will be prohibited. The board may want to write a letter to our director or have elected officials talk to our director about requesting the Highways Division to conduct a traffic study to see if allowing left turn lanes into Waihona Street from the off-ramp will help alleviate traffic at the Acacia Road intersection, since vehicles wanting to go to the Pearl City Industrial Park can take the new off-ramp and make the left turn at Waihona Street instead of making the U-turn at Acacia Road. The study can also confirm if an exclusive left turn lane or a traffic signal system is warranted at Waihona Street, because if the study reveals a high number of vehicles anticipate to make the left turn onto Waihona Street from the off-ramp, it may cause traffic to back up on the off-ramp if there's no exclusive left turn lane or traffic signal. And finally, I want to thank Senator Alfonte again for his email with these Google Map pictures that I received just this afternoon. It seems there's some damage to the existing chain link fence under the H1 freeway along Kahele Street near Dave's Ice Cream, and new graffiti on the walls on the Kaonohi Bridge overpass. I will investigate, work with our Oahu District Office to address these concerns, and report back to the neighborhood board's next meeting. This concludes my report. If board members or the public have concerns about the state highway, they can email me. I'll be greatly appreciated if you can include map pictures or Google Map locations of your concerns. I can take any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey, for the updates, and I'll be contacting you to review and put together a couple draft letters in regard to those issues that you brought up. Board members, any questions for Casey? Go ahead.
Sabe, so when are you guys going to open that off ramp or the turnaround to the Waihona Street exit and then on to the rail station?
I will have to get back with you that month because I haven't gotten back a schedule as to when the project will start the design. And I know they still have to do the design, environmental process, and advertise the project, and then construction. So it'll.
Yeah, but what about the off ramp itself? I mean, that is all done already. When is that going to be opened up?
So what you're asking me, if you'd like to have the off ramp open before we install the new signalized left turn lane at Koala.
Yeah, definitely, because it's still a access for the Waikele and Waipahu people to get to the rail station instead of going all the way to the Home Depot and the turnaround over there.
Okay,
So if they're coming down the Farrington Highway from Waipahu, they can take the H2 cutoff and then exit the off ramp to the rail station from that area. You guys got it blocked off right now. You guys did a little rockfall mitigation underneath the overpass. So in my opinion, it's ready to roll.
Okay, I can go check, but from my perspective, when I went to do the field investigation, if you are opening that off ramp now, cars going to the transit station, they drop off their passengers, they would, I guess, move.
They would jump in line like everybody else on Cam Highway.
Yeah, they're gonna be in a gridlock with Cam Highway, with people trying to cross over to get.
He ain't gonna fix that. I mean, it's the people from Waihona run into that when they come home in the afternoon. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only way you're gonna find out is if you open it up and check it out.
So you want to see if you can do a pilot and open up?
I mean, yeah, open it up. I mean, it's there. It's been there for a few years already.
Okay, I can ask.
All the graffiti guys know about it, but nobody else does.
Sure, we can see if we can pilot and open up the ramp to see how traffic will respond.
Might as well. I mean, it's there.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, virtual community, any questions for Casey? Okay, Casey, thank you for, Dan, you got something? You good? Okay.
No, just Rodney's ideas. I think a controlled experiment would be a very, very good idea. And we might have an outing there to look at various options.
We'll see the results by next meeting then.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, Casey. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on to our state legislature officials. Senator Wakai, are you representative? Are you there? Okay, none. Senator Brandon Elefante, welcome.
Good evening, Chair Ray, members of the Pro City Neighborhood Board, those online and in the community. Thank you for taking the time to attend the monthly meeting. You have my end of session news report for the public. There's extra copies on the table. Taylor Sales from my staff will be posting the link online for many of the homeowners that live in the Pro City area. You probably have gotten this in the mail. So this is our summer end of session news report. First of all, I just want to send the congratulations to the class of 2024. Special congratulations to Farah Velasco, Board Member Velasco's daughter, a graduating senior, and to all the seniors, and for whatever grade level that you're at, whether they call it a promotion ceremony or graduation, really congratulations to all our graduates out there. We're very proud of them. And a special congratulations to you, Chair, on being nominated to the Neighborhood Commission. I believe I saw that resolution at the city and county. So, we're very lucky to have a representative from Pro City on there, and we wish you the best as you go through that process at the city council. I want to highlight a few things in the end of session report. This is on the inside page of the cover. Specific things as it relates to the Pro City Palisades area. First of all, thank you to you, Chair Ray, Vice Chair Duran, and all those that have submitted testimony. Board Member Lee, Board Member Smith, many of you who have written testimony, Board Member Velasco, as well as Board Member Mesta, for basically looking at a way for emergency egress. We adopted that. Rep. Takayama and I are working with the Department of Transportation as well as the city's Department of Transportation Services to look at what's possible for an emergency access route in and out of Palisades. So the resolution just signifies, this is the intent and wishes of the community. In addition to that, the siren, we've been working with HIEMA to get that siren replaced up in Palisades as well. In terms of funding, thanks to my colleagues, Rep. Chun and Senator Kino, who sit on the Finance and Ways and Means Committee, very instrumental in getting funding for Pro City schools, $650,000 for new tennis courts, for resurfacing that, and also for Momilani, $3.55 million for perimeter fencing and security improvements. And we're very fortunate because we thought we would really have a year that we were looking at cuts at first, but at the end of the session, we were able to provide some CIP money as well as grant and aid funding and many other funding for much needed areas in our community. So with that, you can go more into detail in the session report. And one final note that I will mention, we are around, even though it is the interim. I'm still, mostly on island for that sense. So feel free to reach out to our office. Give us a call. We'll do our best to obviously respond as quickly as we can, but we're definitely here, even though session is technically over. We're still around and willing to receive any feedback that you may have. That concludes my report. Thank you, Chair.
All right, Senator, thank you so much. And a great report this month to see all the hard work and cohesiveness and collaboration with our legislative team for Pearl City. I can't thank you guys enough. This is probably the most, raised the bar high compared to last year. Looks pretty good. So board members, any questions for our senator? Go ahead.
I do. Good evening. And this is for all our legislatures. I thank you. The board thanks you for what you guys do. My concern is, how can we get you folks, the whole legislature, to be in session longer? If you look at the scales, it's kind of tipped, to where 5 months on. And then, like you said, you're there, reach out, call. So it's a 7-month run until we hear from you folks again in January. So, we are a 1.2, 1.4 million population state. There are a lot of issues out there. There are a lot of problems to be solved. In my opinion, it cannot be done in 5 months. So the question is, and I've expressed this to Representative Chun, is can we get you guys to be in session longer? Maybe not to, do as many bills and resolutions or bills to be passed, but pull it along the year. Because if you look at the city council, it's a year-round job, pretty much. Yeah, last week. So with the national legislative representatives and senators, they do it year-round. So maybe 4 or 5 decades ago, you could get away with 5 months. But in reality, there are a lot of issues that to be solved out there. And I think the worst word that comes to our ears is we have deferred till next year. So it's kind of hard, you know what I mean? So basically, you know, what I'm saying is the scales need to be tipped a little bit, you know? My suggestion to another person was if you folks would do a trimester. You know, I don't know what that would entail, but basically that's you know, I think we need something like that.
Okay,
We
Rodney.
need something where you guys are there.
We got to move on.
Okay,
If,
thanks.
yeah, if I may respond, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board Member Wong. You know, this idea has come up over time, you know, since from, you know, I've been in public office. You know, I did start my career at the City Council, which I was used to year round. But the whole thought of the legislature is being part-time and a citizen legislature, which means if you're an elected official, potentially you could, you know, have another outside job to supplement the income that you do make. I don't, for at least for these first 2 years. But the topic has come up in terms of extending the time frame every session, you know, whether it may be 6 months, year round. California does theirs year round. Other states do it differently. In election year, they're there longer. Non-election year, they're there shorter, right? So it just depends. It always comes up every year. That's something that, you know, could be looked at, you know, in terms of, you know, the needs. As you said, the population has grown, you know, tremendously to where we were since statehood. So it's just always difficult to get something passed and what we can sort of agree to. But I know my colleagues who've served longer than I have in the state legislature might have some thoughts on that. But I know that topic has always comes up every session. Okay.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions for our senator? Seeing none virtual, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, and we've got Senator Henry Aquino. Welcome. And thank you for your
Chair.
report as well.
Well, thank you very much, Chair, board members, members of the public. Thank you very much. Just to reiterate what my colleague had mentioned, congratulations, Pro City High School class of 2024. You know, just amazing work. You know, just getting to know a lot of the students. You know, they will. I'm pretty sure that they will do amazing work moving forward. We had a very productive session, and my newsletter's on the table. I also distributed to our board members. And I believe it should hit homes in Senate District 19, which is, you know, portions of Momilani, as well as Manana. It should hit the homes tomorrow from what I was told. So I have a very comprehensive legislative report. And I'd just like to highlight just a few things. So as I mentioned, we ended May 3rd, a few weeks ago. House Bill 2404, which is the income tax reductions bill, which would be starting this year. This is cuts across the board. So from low income to very high income, it's cuts across the board. But the biggest impacts will be the lower and middle income tax brackets, that they will see the largest savings. So for example, a married couple with 2 dependents with 80,000 of annual income will probably save over 77% on their taxes for the next 7 years. So it's a huge deal, and we're very proud of that. It's one of the bigger wins of the session. And this would equate to about $5 billion in tax savings, again, for the next 7 years. Senate Bill 2943, which establishes a CDL working group. This was basically, you know, it stemmed from the issues regarding the DOE and, you know, not having enough bus drivers. But there's a shortage in every single industry that touches CDL driving. So what we did was, thanks to my colleagues in the legislature, we do have a working group under the DOT to help figure out what we can do better to address the shortage statewide. In addition to that, the Senate Bill 582, which allocated about $1 billion in funds for Maui's recovery. So this includes expenses regarding housing, food, assistance, and victim compensation. And lastly, I'd like to just share that we also passed in the budget and through several bills we increased provider rates for our care and adult foster homes. So these are individuals that are being cared for. Some more vulnerable populations being cared for in a residential setting. So it's a very big deal. This is the first time they've had an increase in nearly 16 years. So again, these are people who are caring for our aged and disabled populations statewide. And in my report, there's also a comprehensive list of all the CIP and granted aid that we were able to get thanks to the support of the legislature and my colleagues. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to entertain any questions.
All right, Senator Keno, thank you so much for the update, and I know many residents appreciate that tax break that the governor and the legislature had enacted, and we all thank you for that. Board members, any questions? Okay. Seeing none virtual. Residents? None. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, moving on. Representative Greg Takayama, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I don't have a written report. People who live in Pearl City are going to be getting a copy of my newsletter in the next week or so. So my colleagues actually covered most of the highlights of the legislation that we've worked on this past year. 6 months ago, we stood before you and talked about some of the plans that we had to help out Pearl City. Among them were also ideas to work on the Sunset Memorial Cemetery and also to do something about fireworks. And happy to say that we, in both subjects, we passed measures that I think will help a lot. The situation at cemetery, as well as continuing to work with the fireworks task force. We were just waiting on the governor to, as he's considering the bills, hopefully he'll sign both of them. Members, we had an interesting discussion about a year-round legislature. Personally, I have mixed feelings about having a professional year-round legislature. You know, there's something to be said about having citizen legislators. In other words, people who work in real jobs outside of the legislature. Sometimes what we do within the legislature is we feed ourselves. You know, we hire aides who eventually run for office themselves and become sort of a ingrained thing that people become creatures of the legislative process. I think it's refreshing to see people who have jobs outside in construction, in charitable organizations. Some are teachers part-time, some are lawyers. And I think it's good to have different views come in from the community to be reflected among the legislators. But, you know, it can be argued both ways. As Brandon mentioned, California has a year-round legislature. Some other states, one or two I can think of, have legislatures that don't even meet every year because it's their view that the more damage they do, the more often they meet. So the less often they meet, the better off those states are. I think Montana is one of them. But anyway, it's something that we're not going to resolve today. I just think that there are two sides to the issue, and I personally think that there are some good reasons for us to keep it as a 5-month legislature. Sometimes it's good to have deadlines for us to work on. Congress meets year-round, and what they do with their budget is they kept pushing it. And so, you know, they're months behind in even enacting a current fiscal year budget. So those are my personal thoughts. But with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Representative Takayama, thank you so much. And we'll be waiting for your report in the mail.
Sure.
But I want to personally thank you for, you know, taking the lead on House Bill 2192. I've been in contact with Karen in your office. She's going to give me a heads up. But for the board here, there will be a governor signing photo. The Friends for Sunset Memorial Cemetery 501c3. They'll be there. But I'm asking all our legislators, all of you, to be in that photo because this was a true team effort. You know, I've been working this for 10 years, and it wasn't until this year finally we're going to make things happen. And we've got the volunteers to lead the way to turn that cemetery around and make it a model and also a historic location for Pearl City. Over the last few weeks, from Mother's Day to Memorial Day, there were over 300 families that visited the cemetery. You could tell by counting all the flowers, the activity that occurred. But it's still being desecrated. I've been trying to repair with some of the Navy. Thanks to Duna there. Duna gave me 3 sailors, and also I got some retirees. We're starting to try to pick up the headstones that were pushed off their bases and try to get those back into place again. But board members, any questions for Representative Takayama? Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, let's continue the discussion about full-time, because some of your colleagues have very substantial jobs outside of the legislature, whereas I think the model in the U.S. Congress is that they get a decent salary. I think it's what, 160? But the limitation on outside employment is 28,000. I believe that I'm in the right ballpark. But this year's session was better organized than last year's. So yeah, I think we need to continue that discussion, because I think you should be full-time. We would have more careful consideration of some of the bills rather than either rush them through or just ignore them. Thank you.
Understood.
All right, board members, I don't see any other hands up, virtual community. Any questions for Representative Takayama? Seeing none, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to Representative Corey Chun. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. Similar to Rep. Takayama, I don't have a written report this meeting. I will have it next meeting. So, I'm coming up after all of them, and they kind of touched on everything already that I want to touch on. So I'll just go over two points that were brought up. The first one with Senate Bill 3202. So now that it's passed, really what it puts a lot of pressure now on the city council. So even though it's now going to it's now law, there's a lot of, I guess, deference given to the city council to actually come up with how this is supposed to work. And so it's kind of incumbent on the community to still keep an eye on how the council is actually going to implement this, because there are still limitations to it depending on utility infrastructure and things like that. So those are still important. I think it's very important that we still watch it as it progresses. The second point is with the all year round legislature. So, I'll just share my thoughts on it. I know it seems like some legislation seems rushed, but for the measures that I worked on for the last 2 years that actually passed, it did take 2 years. Even though we were technically in an interim, that's when all the work really gets done. And that's what some of the veterans have shared with me. It's like, if you just come up with an idea in January and expect it to pass and become law in May, you're not being very realistic. But some of these things actually take a lot of time. So, I'm not to say that that's a good or bad, but just that there is a process. And for those who are really trying to get legislation that works, it really goes all year round anyway. So I'd just like to share that. But with that, I'd be open to any other questions. Thank you.
Yeah, Corey, thank you so much. And again, with your collaboration with our legislators, the other most impacting thing that I definitely see is the Silver Alert bill that went through and got passed, because we needed that for a long time, far too long. We've had our seniors with dementia and out on the streets, and it's a shame that we don't have any. You don't know if a senior walking down the street if there's an issues with them. But with the Silver Alert, it wakes up the community. We're all there looking. We're there to help, and we appreciate that bill. So, board members, Rodney.
Thanks, Corey. I remember you telling me that about the extra 7 months. But there was one bill that had passed to where you increased The one we were talking about the other night, the one that wasn't increased in 16 years for the seniors from 30 to $50 or something like that. Can you reiterate on that and bring that up to light?
Sure, yeah. So that's the personal needs allowance. So for the longest time, it was capped at $50. And really what this is for folks on Medicaid, where if you're in a home, you only are given $50 to pay for like toiletries and all these other things that aren't covered. And of course, you know, with inflation and the cost of goods going up, $50 doesn't really get you very far. It also includes like snacks. So if you just wanted to go out and get some snacks, you know, $50 a month is going to run out really quickly. So there was legislation that passed this year to just increase it modestly to $75. But because it was such a long time coming, that all the advocates and everything were just so happy to just see some kind of increase. Because yeah, as I mentioned before, the increase hasn't happened in 16 years.
Yeah, thanks for that, because you know, these, the kupuna is the ones that have paid their dues. They have put in. And for them not to get any, you know, yield from all their years, you know, it's sad. Where others who haven't put in are taking from the system. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, board members, any other questions? We got a hand up there. Donald, I haven't got to community yet. Let me check with board. No board, no community. We got Mr. Donald Sakamoto. Go ahead, Donald. Donald, are you there? Might have been from earlier.
You hear me now, Chair?
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, thank you. Corey, thank you for your report. As a member of the Kupuna Caucus for the legislature, I noticed that some deals didn't go through, but when will you, the Kupuna Caucus will be restarting again for this year to hear bills for next year and have discussion? What time, what's the timeline? November or so?
Ooh, that's a good question, Donald. I'm not too sure when we're gonna put together the package. I know last year it was October and November when we finalized it. So we're still in the I guess the early phases since the session just finished. So we're actually just right now open to new ideas and to see what ideas would come forward for next year. So if you have any ideas, please feel free. Our next meeting will be on June 7th at 2 p.m. on Zoom. Let me know if you need the link.
I'll be there, Corey. So,
Okay.
yeah, I had to build it to help, but thanks a lot for all your efforts on that. Thank you.
And also just a plug, if anyone is interested, if you know, in senior issues and you want to do maybe a presentation just to share. We do allow anybody who has an idea to be placed on the agenda to just speak in front of the caucus and share their ideas. And a lot of good ideas come from just community members, just saying like, you know, what about this? What about that? So.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Donald. Any other questions from the community? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Corey.
Right. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, and last one, Representative Trish LaChica. We have her report and we have.
Aloha board. My name is Erin Conway. I'm here on behalf of Representative LaChica.
Welcome, Erin.
Thank you. I'm her office manager. She just wanted to say thank you all for working with her, especially on the bus issues during the last interim in session. We'd like to continue that work. We have a very short update. I gave you all a copy of our newsletter. It just highlights some legislative updates that were covered earlier at this meeting and discusses some District 37 funding updates. Yeah, that's about all I have. But if any of you have any questions, please let me know and I can pass them along to the representative.
All right, Erin, thank you. And of course, those of you who are familiar with the reapportionment that occurred with Representative LaChica, she's got this strip of land from Kahuka all the way down to the H1, H2 merge where there's no residents or anything, but she still comes to our meetings. She made a major impact this year and also the respect that she got from this board trying to tackle the bus situation. So we really appreciate that. And also appreciate our board members with our vice chair and Dan for attending those meetings.
Thank you.
Okay, Dan, go ahead. I mean, Rodney.
Sorry. Aaron, thanks. Going back to what Mr. Abe said about the turnaround from off of Farrington, Cam Highway, and then making the turn H2 to the rail station. If you could, tell her to check into that one, because ask her White Peel Gentry, Core Ridge, that area, if you come down Kamehameha Highway or the old Kipapa Gulch Road, you walk right in, you roll right into that one right before Leeward Community College, and turn around and have access to the rail station. So I know she was a big proponent of getting the bus going and whatnot. So I think this would be in her best interest to take a look at it.
I'd be happy to let her know. Yeah, we can look into that.
Thank you.
So Rodney, let's work that together, okay? That was a good idea. We'll get her into it. Yeah. Okay, any other questions for Aaron from the board? Seeing none, residents? Seeing none? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, do we have Nestor Garcia for Congressman Ed Case? Are you on, Nestor?
Hi, can you folks hear me? Nestor isn't here, but I'm here in his place.
Oh, okay. Well, who are you?
Hi everyone, my name is Chiyomi Kamaka. I work for Congressman Case out of his DC office, and I cover environmental issues for him.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It's great to be here, especially because I grew up in YO when I was a child, but I'm happy to share an update on what we're doing in Congress. As you may know, Congressman Case sits on the Appropriations Committee, which allocates discretionary funding through a series of 12 bills. Right now, we're just beginning markups, which is where the members will debate and propose changes to the drafted spending bills. The committee just considered the Military Construction, Veterans Affairs, and Related Agencies Appropriations Bill, which provides funding for activities that kind of fall under those ambits for fiscal year 2025. It currently includes over 1.5 billion for projects in Hawaii, which is actually the most of any state. And you can read more about this bill and how to help Hawaii here in his press release. I'll drop a couple links in the chat. While we're concerned with policy in DC, I also wanted to take the time to highlight our district office's work here in assisting Honolulu individuals. Through casework, our office addresses needs and concerns, which can come in all kinds of forms, but we're especially equipped to help individuals with questions and concerns relating to the federal government and its agencies. So for example, we do a lot of casework in the area, assisting individuals getting their Social Security benefits, their Medicare benefits, veterans benefits, and any difficulties that they have with visas and other immigration applications. And I'll also link a little plug there in the chat as well. So thanks for having me here, and I'll do my best to answer your questions or pass along any of your concerns to the Congressman.
Okay, well, thank you. Board members, any questions for Kimmy? Go ahead, Dan.
Very briefly, hey, we need the Affordable Connectivity Program. Briefly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of outpour from the community supporting this program. I know that the congressman recently just signed onto a letter as a part of his New Dems caucus, or his New Dems committee to coalition, to kind of call for that reauthorization of funds for that program. But it's definitely something that we're keeping an eye on. So thank you for flagging that.
All right, thank you. Any other board questions? Can't tell virtually. You're in full screen. See no hands up. Residents? Okay, no other questions. Thank you so much for the update.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to city officials. And we've got Director Albano here. Welcome, sir. We have a letter coming your way.
Chair and board members. Mayor's highlights include major improvements to the DPP process, in which they introduced 3 technology initiatives. First one is a new platform called Clarity, in which it's a single platform for all aspects of the process. Whereas before it was multiple processes, they've tried to consolidate it into one platform. Second one is upgrading the current E-plan system, in which I believe it was very inefficient in terms of similar process. They've been able to upgrade that to make it much more efficient. And most importantly, lastly, is CivCheck, in which is very similar to TurboTax, in which it's a AI-based software that allows applicants to be guided by an AI software to help process their permit correctly. Secondly, the city issued their annual sustainability report. Some of the highlights include 12% reduction in water usage, 6% reduction in electrical usage, and planting of 3,679 trees. Haiku Stairs has officially started. They have begun removal of the stairs. We're hopeful that the first module will be removed very shortly, and you will likely see that in the news moving forward. This month is Wildfire Awareness Month, so please be aware. Try to store any of your flammable liquids and whatnot to try and protect the wildflowers. Summer Fund program is still looking for helpers, $16 minimum pay for any available students that needs a job. Lastly, there are 3 town hall meetings left. This week is at Hauula. Next week is in Waipio, so you'll certainly be able to come by, talk to us again next week as a follow-up if you feel like there's a need for follow-up with the mayor. And lastly, the one that got canceled a couple of weeks ago because of the Kona Low is Wailua on June 20th. I'll move on to questions that were asked. The last one, stream ownership. Pomomai Bridge, the city is responsible for the land under the bridge as well as 25 feet upstream and downstream. The rest of the stream is privately owned. That's great. Or state, but it's not owned by the city or maintained by the city. River Monitor Report. Member Inouye asked if there was any reports in terms of dates of maintenance of the area that we maintain. There is no formal log of dates when we go. The department tries to clean the streams 2 to 3 times a year. And it also includes on-call removal of dead animal carcasses if there is one as well. As far as the inspection of the bridge, it takes every 2 years by the Department of Design and Construction. Member Lee asked if the river underneath the bridge is considered a hotspot, flood hotspot. And as I mentioned, it's not identified as a specific hotspot based on previous heavy rainfall events. No records of flooding complaints have ever been received in that area. Member Wong asked, what is the process of how the city monitors the rivers and streams in Pro City? City streams in Pro City are scheduled for maintenance on a rotational basis, along with city drainage ditches in the district. Checks for debris are conducted pursuant to complaints as well as flood advisories. Again, the DFM takes a proactive approach when it comes to upcoming storms. As we recognize, as I mentioned last time, hotspots, those are the priorities that we take first and then manage from there. Fortunately, this last Kona Low, we were able to manage that. There were some incidents in Waikane as well as Kaneohe where the floods did go up to a stream. Literally, we had to shut down a bridge because of that. We then had to send staff over to deal with landslides, more rubbish, and they did it at risk, at harm's way. And fortunately, no one passed away or we did not suffer any severe damage. Rail operation, Mr. Wong. Hours of operation during the weekends is generally 8 to 7, including holidays. The first departure at each of the stations is 8 a.m. At East Kapolei Station, the last departure is 6:40, and at the stadium, it's at 6:35 p.m. And then obviously DTS does provide special hours for special events as in the past. Like Obon, I think they extended their hours for Obon in the Waipahu area. Ridership numbers. This is from DTS. If you need specific ridership for this area, I gotta ask for that next time. But in general, the first 300 days, 900,000, 14,553 passengers, which equates to an average of 300 passengers a day. Obviously, that's misleading in a sense that it was high end at the beginning. And if you're looking for a little bit more realistic numbers, I can bring that next time.
Yeah, it's 3,000 a day, right?
Yeah, 3,000. HPD report about the guardrail report. I think that was mentioned earlier. If there is a need to notify a officer, either notify DTS and HPD will try their best to respond to any accident at the guardrails. As a follow-up as well, you mentioned that we have not responded. We got an email response to you and Vice Chair Doran, April 9th. Please give us some patience. It's a little over a month. We did have to deal with the storm that brought us back 2 weeks behind. We will do our best to get to those guardrails. We understand that's a public safety concern. It's not only the guardrails, but it's also traffic calming that's a little bit more involved with requests to probably speed humps or much more warning signs. So we are addressing your concern.
And Director, there'll be a Pearl City Neighborhood Board requirement specifically stating those requests to you. Vice Chair Durant is completing that.
Okay.
We voted on it tonight.
Very good. And the last one was regarding confined space from resident Saki. DFM performs confined testing of the manhole and box culverts at Noelani Street just prior to personnel entering the confined space for inspection and maintenance. This is to ensure safe oxygen levels are present within the confined space. The clearing of the ditch was also asked if it correlates to the flooding of Noelani. Obviously, it does. Anything upstream that is clean does not bring any rubbish or trash or debris downstream. I don't want to make any excuses, but at this point, it did occur, and it is a lesson learned with respect to making sure that that culvert specifically is clean, clear before a storm event.
Yeah, and if I could jump in, I had a moment with the principal for Highlands, for Peaches, Pearl City Elementary School, Highlands Elementary School, at the graduation ceremony, and she's making sure that for the groundskeepers, they're not blowing the leaves into the gratings, which could have also caused more of a problem. So, but thank you, and we got off easy on this Kona law this last week.
Fortunately,
I got no reports of flooding in Pearl City.
With every storm event, we learn from it, and it's just incumbent on the department to make sure we do our best to deal with the hotspots.
Okay.
With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, Rodney,
Yeah, Mr. G.
make it quick.
You were saying about the guardrails coming down by Children's House. So I noticed on the off ramp up in Waipio, right before you go to the overpass, they have small little yellow triangles, and I was trying to figure out what the heck those were. Those were the reflective triangles?
On the road?
No, on the guardrail itself. Yeah,
Now, if it's off the off-ramp, that might still be under purview of DOT.
the state, yeah, okay, but if you guys got them, I think those would be good because as you're going down or up and the lights shine on them, they will reflect to show that there's a guardrail there. And I think the one off the highway, off the freeway, when you're going on the on-ramp to White Peel, it's those, I couldn't figure out at first what they were, then I kind of, oh, wait a minute, that's reflective tape. So I said, so that might be, you know, a help over there, especially over there. That area is dark coming down when you make that turn. Thanks.
You're
Good
welcome,
numbers.
Member.
Oh, by the way, I rode the rail yesterday.
Appreciate it.
Okay, board members, any other questions? We'll move along. Charmaine?
Thank you, Chair. Director, you and I have been going back and forth on the refuse truck. And so since I sent in a records request, I think last month you made mention that ENV was looking at it. So I did a records request to ENV and they said it's DFM, which I think is your department.
It is.
Um,
We are
so we're,
responding. Yeah, we are
yeah,
responding to your request.
so hold on. I think we're at 7 months now. And when we started this, I thought there were the first complaint I got had 1 truck and then there was 2 trucks. I think now we're up to about 7 trucks which have similar equipment. And personally, I thought what was going to happen was I was going to get a copy of like, a gift record that somebody had donated and we would be done. But at this point, we're 7 months and I can't get a complete answer. So I'm a little concerned.
Well, I can rest assure you that there are no records of those type of adornments being installed. It would be very difficult with checks and balances in place to be able to procure spikes. It would require the director of DTS to approve it. I mean, the ENV, the director of DFM to approve it. And therefore, it's very difficult to even fathom that the city actually procured the adornment of spikes. So you will
So
get
actually-
an official response.
Hold on. What I
explaining-
actually said was I thought what I would get was a copy of like a gift record that somebody gave it as a gift to the city. That's actually what I
Yeah,
thought
and
was
we will
going to
respond
happen. Yeah.
That we have no records of gifts being received with
And I have
regards to
right.
spikes.
I know. So I have shared the pictures with you, and I've shared the truck numbers. And every day, especially Tuesdays, which is today, I get a new truck number. Somebody's really on the lookout for these. And there are quite a few of them. So it's not that it's not true. There's actually pictures of this stuff. So hopefully it won't take if I don't
Well,
get a response the next couple of days, I don't know. I'm
I
gonna
can
have to
respond
let
for
them
DFM. Now, if we see spikes when the
aluminum.
mechanics
So
see
the
spikes
request is more
on-
than spikes. The request is for and I'm using what they're telling me, and I'm not a mechanic, right? So they're shiny rims, chrome base, aluminum base. I don't know what the actual are, but it's more than spikes. These are actually really cool equipment on refuse vehicles, and it seems to be about 7 of them. So, it's more than spikes. And the records request, which is this is my second one now, actually details that it's not just the spikes, right? It's more than that. So
Yeah, if it's
10 days
more than
already.
chrome-plated rims, then we will respond accordingly.
Okay, and I actually had one more. Thank you. Okay, and the
Well,
second one,
between ENV and DFM.
DFM
will
has already
respond
responded.
accordingly.
They've already responded. They said that they have not authorized any of this equipment. Please ask DFM because they're charged with maintenance. And I actually have that in writing. So
Maintenance, not procurement, yes.
procurement.
Procurement, right. If there's a replacement part, it is standard replacement parts. Again, we would never order something that's over and beyond what is standard stock items. So
Right. Okay. So I assume somebody donated this stuff. That's what I assumed, which is kind of easy enough to find out. Anyway, the
Okay, we
second-
need to move
yeah,
on.
Yeah, I know. But after this, I'm gonna actually just encourage them to go down to the, public, the mayor's meeting, because it's been 7 months, or maybe I'll go and ask directly, because I'm not sure what more to do. But the other thing was, but I thank you, I guess, for kind of trying to track it. The other thing is, I think about 8 months or 9 months ago, and a while back, you were trying to help us find out about the community sustainable Pearl City community sustainable plans, the projects that were listed in there. And it seems like the minutes say, I need more time. And that was the last that we heard about. So if you could try to see if the staff actually figured out if any of the projects got done. We assume a whole bunch of them did. Thank you.
okay, I do recall that, and I will follow up on that specific item.
Okay, well, thank you, Vice Chair, and the long dissertation on Mad Max rubbish trucks at Pearl City. Board members, if you see any of these, please take a photo so we can get it to the director.
No center caps, Gene. No
Okay.
center caps.
Board members, any questions for Director Urbano? Okay, seeing none here. And that's community, any questions? Okay, go ahead, up to the mic.
Thank you.
All right, Tom.
Wait, not yet.
Question for you.
So I've seen those spikes. I've sent them to Charmaine, and hopefully she got those pictures to you, because they're on the road, and yeah, they're dangerous. We got enough accidents already on the road. We don't need any other city vehicles being, the cause of it. Yeah, so definitely would really appreciate your attention to this. Thank you.
No center caps.
The drivers or whoever is on those trucks are reminded not to put adornments. So it's beyond DFM's responsibility once we return it back to EMV, and we don't patrol, we don't monitor the drivers, the users of the trucks and how they adorn their vehicle.
Okay.
So rest assured, DFM does not endorse spikes, does not return a truck with spikes.
Okay.
Take that to my grave.
Okay, we beat
Thank
this
you.
horse to death. And the next time we talk about it, will be on KHON, where you'll see it on the news.
Yeah, good idea, good idea.
Okay, moving on to O'Donnell Sakamoto. Go ahead. I didn't see your hand up there earlier, sorry.
Yeah, Chair, Donald Sakamoto for the record, President of Citizens for a Fair ADA Ride, deal with public transportation, bus, handyman, and Skyline. Question to Director is, I talked to Roger Morton of Department of Transportation Service on Rick Amata Show on March 22nd with Lori Kaikina to have a pedestrian bridge built at the Pearl City Highlands on that stretch of 4-lane highway that's owned by the state. They have the money, $19.something million, but when is this bridge going to be, timeline going to be built? Who's going to do the design? Is it going to be Hart doing the design, or is it Department of Transportation Services with other architects? I just want to know, because as a blind individual and persons who are disabled, as a general public, it's dangerous to cross over there, and we need that pedestrian bridge. Thank you.
I generally heard it, Mr. Sakamoto. If it's regarding the walkway bridge, I can follow up with DTS on planning of that or when they will implement the bridge.
Yeah, if you could send me an email on that, I appreciate it. There's a lot of people interested.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sakamoto. Thank you, Director. Residents, seeing no other questions, thank you much. Okay, moving on to Councilmember Val Kimoto. Jamie, Are you there?
Yes, Chair. Good evening, Jamie from Councilmember Okimoto's office. I apologize for not being there in person this evening. I'm getting over a head cold or flu, or I don't know what this bug is that's going around, but I didn't want to get anybody sick. Regarding Mr. Sakamoto's question, that is a DTS project. The city DTS has secured federal grants to move forward with the pedestrian bridge over Kamehameha Highway in vicinity of the Pearl Highlands Station. Unfortunately, I do not have a timeline for you this evening. As a follow-up to a question posed at the meeting last month by Vice Chair Doran, the lapse in funding from last fiscal year in the city's operating budget was $462 million and some change. So about 14% of the mayor's budget lapsed last fiscal year. Copies of Councilmember Okimoto's report have been distributed to the board. I just wanted to highlight last Thursday, Councilmember Okimoto held a Committee on Public Safety meeting and highlighted hurricane season preparedness and outlook with a presentation from the National Weather Service and some tips and suggestions for hurricane preparedness from the Department of Emergency Management that can be accessed by visiting honolulucitycouncil.org. This council will be meeting on Wednesday, June 5th to take its final vote on the city's various budgets, operating, CIP, and HART budgets. We made a slight amendment in the CIP budget for Pearl City District Park to ensure the gymnasium at the district park, that the funding is expended by the appropriate agency to streamline that process and get that roof fixed sooner rather than later. So that change is from DDC to the Department of Parks and Recreation. Other than that, I'll stand on the report pending any questions.
Hey, Jamie, hope you're feeling better. Give our warm regards there to Councilmember Okimoto. Board members, any questions for Jamie, for our council member? Okay, seeing none. Got a Donald Sakamoto for residents. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Jamie, thanks for your report. Question about CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team. We had something at Winter Mall on the winter side for emergency preparedness. We had a lot of organizations and other people from the government to talk about what to do. But what is the preparedness of the city for, like, say, a hurricane, earthquake? Do we have everything in set place to handle emergency for Pearl City?
I would defer to the information on the Department of Emergency Management's website. They don't go into specific plans. Every situation, whether it's a hurricane, a tsunami, or earthquake, a wildfire, is situation dependent. So they have general plans available that take into account various situations, including for our disabled members of the community. So I would defer to their website. And if there's something there that you feel is missing, we can definitely reach out to the director and make a suggestion that, hey, this component of an emergency plan for this type of scenario is missing, and work with them to make sure that the information that you need is available to you and members of the community.
Okay, we're going to have to move on. Donald, anything else? Okay, all right.
No, Chair. That's it, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Jamie. Other than that, residents, any other questions? Seeing none, we're moving on. And we've got Duna Hodge here from Pearl Harbor. And I hope Victor is recovering with his foot.
He is. He's actually sends his regards. Professor Flint is on leave, I believe, until next week. So he asked me to ask Cooney and Rodney here that if I could get his time, so I'll give you guys a 7-minute brief. Is that okay? I'm teasing. I'm not going to do that to you. We really don't have a lot of news tonight. The Navy Region Hawaii and Joint Base has partnered up with Hawaiian Telecom. I'm not that familiar with what's going on here, but this is a project they started a couple of years ago. We'll finish up, and this is a digital transfer of information from West Oahu back into town. I don't know a lot of it, but what I will find out, I'll pass to you, Chair Varay, and that way you can share it with the community. It's a great thing. Communications connectivity on Oahu is completed in early 24. It's a multi-million-dollar collaborative project, and I guess it goes across Pearl Harbor underwater there somehow. I don't really know a lot about it, but I thought it was important enough to mention on Victor's behalf, because you know him, he'd be bragging on that like he did it. The RIMPAC is coming up mid-month, 29 countries, some 40 ships, 3 or 4 submarines, 25,000 sailors. And for old sailors like Larry and I, that means we're going to have to stand in line to get our hair cut a little bit. But it's also a good reminder of the shot in the arm, the $50 million this brought in 2022, I believe, and they're probably expecting even more these days. So that's coming up. It'll go the mid-July. It'll go all the way to like the first week of August. So they'll be there for a while. They go out to sea and then they come back. The open house, Navy Closure Task Force is where we get to talk about us. My new job is going great. Got a great team. We're really excited about the opportunities to bring the closure, the decommissioning of that facility up there. We just had an open house on May 15th. It was very successful over at the Oahu Veterans Center. We didn't have a lot of people, but the weather was really bad that night. In fact, I had umbrella duty for most of the night, but we had a lot of members of the community come out, including members of the CRI, including some advocates. They came in with a scowl, but they left with a smile. So hopefully we did pretty well. I was pretty proud of the efforts. I've got a great team, lots of subject matter experts, and we have already started meetings to plan for the next open house. And I will pass that date once they set a date. They've not really set a date. We've asked them to do it monthly because we're PA guys, public affairs guys. We like to do it. We want to do it every other week, but the subject matter experts say no. So we'll see. April 29th, we began reducing the amount from 4.2 million gallons a day that flushing. We're back down to 1.8. This is something that we've been asking for with the stakeholders and our partners for a long time. We finally came to an agreement on that, and that started this last month. Other than that, everything is really routine. I did bring a copy of the Molelo. This is something you can subscribe to. It's Navy Regions newsprint, but if you look, you'll see like your shot of history, the Westlock disaster there from May 21st, the RIMPAC exercises, and also some other, we've even made the news in there too. So this is something you can subscribe to. It's an easy 2-page newsletter, or I can just keep sending them to you. If you send me your email address, I'll send it to you with a smile.
Yeah, if you go ahead and send it to me, I'll forward it on to the board members.
I will. Standing by for any questions.
Okay, any questions for Duna?
Thank you for that Pearl Harbor tour.
Oh, I was going to ask you how it went.
That was great. Yeah.
I'm really glad. I hope Charmaine, you made it as well. Good. I wish I could have done that with you, but I had other duties. But Jim Newman, I know, took good care of you because he's the region historian. He's a super smart guy and taught me everything I know.
Okay, Rodney?
Are you going to do it again?
Yes. And in fact, they go out 3 or 4 times a month. If you want me to, I share this information with Larry every once in a while, but I know that sometimes it doesn't filter out, or he knows that you're busy.
Yeah, just give me those dates and I'll pass it to the board.
Dates, and anytime you guys want to go out, just call us. We'll get you out there. Promise.
Okay, and our honorary residents, we could sponsor you too. So I'll put that seat out there.
I will come get you at the gate.
Yeah.
That's how good it is. I'll come get you at the gate and I'll go with you.
Okay, we got a question from board member Guy.
Hi, Duna.
Hey, sir.
Thank you very much for the report. I have a question. Steve Sapoff, I heard is retiring, and since he's been in that position, we never had a RAB meeting for several years, and we were supposed to have one several months ago, and the day of the meeting, they actually canceled it that night. So, do you know if they're going to initiate any kind of RAB meetings?
Okay, I missed the first part of it. Larry, can you help me out? I could barely hear you, sir. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Guy.
Okay, let me put my mic
Jeff
right up
Guy,
here.
I'm so sorry.
No problem. So, Steve Sapoff, who is head of the RAB, he's retiring. So, and I don't know if he's going to have a replacement, but in the 2 years that he was in his position, we once never had a meeting.
Oh, you're talking about with Red Hill?
No.
No, RAB, the
This is the
Rehabilitation.
Pearl Harbor
Advisory Board.
Restoration Advisory Board.
Oh, I'm not that familiar with the program, but I can track down some information for you, Guy, and send it
Right.
back through you and Larry.
Okay, thank you. Because
If you hit me
we
with
used
an
to,
email with the details, I have met some of the folks on that board, but I've really never worked with them, but I'll track them down for you.
okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
that,
sorry.
that was a really good board over the last decade.
Okay,
And then after the Red Hill issues, that wasn't a priority anymore. It was taking care of the real disaster, which was the Red Hill issue.
gotcha.
So now that that's almost solved, it's time to work other areas of Pearl Harbor that have hazardous waste dumps. For example, underneath Radford High School, underneath the
Yeah,
ball
when
field and all
I
that.
first came aboard back in 2016, we were working the Bradford.
I'm surprised nobody has taken care of that all these years. It's still there.
Back in 2016, I was told it was closed. That was one of the first things that they had.
No, it's still off limits. There's areas there they keep the people.
I'm
away
thinking
from.
about the ball field,
It's
where the ball field was converted.
where
back.
where Holly Keiki Elementary School.
Right.
I think we should discuss that later, Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're getting offline.
Other than that, thank you for sending the sailors to Sunset Memorial Park Cemetery there to help out with the
It
cleanup.
was our pleasure. Hopefully we'll get some more people there next time.
It was nice for Mother's Day. Go ahead, Rodney.
One quick one.
Yes, sir.
Are you guys planning any more crew cuts for the waterfront in our area?
Some cookouts,
Some crew cuts.
some crew cuts.
Cutting any more trees down there?
Yeah, we want to do some over at, we're trying to get back to Iroquois Point, back over in that area there, that line right along the fence line against the Capilina housing there. There's a tree line there that we were going to thin out, and that's when the Maui fire popped up. So everything was kind of pulled off and sent to Maui. But we're still hoping to turn that on with those folks over there as a community engagement. But I'll keep you in the loop with anything.
Yeah. What about by the Aloha Stadium? By 604, the boat harbor?
We
Are
could
you going
look
to
into
cut
it.
that area over there?
Yeah, it needs some help over there. Right there at that fence line again, where the Pack Fleet Boathouse is. We have been looking at that with Scott Thompson, who's the community liaison. He's basically the guy that Victor answers to most of the time.
Yeah, the
And Victor
homeless,
answers to anybody.
the homeless go in there plus the illegal dumping.
Yeah, it's a bad area, you know.
That
it
that
can be.
fence needs to be extended across there to keep people from going there to dump.
Yeah, I know that we're working on a couple of other visits. I should send you some details on once we get the solid dates on the Hawaiian burial mound on Hickam side. We've been building a lava rock wall. We went in there once. We need to get in there and finish that wall again. The Native Hawaiian organizations that we were partnering with could only do that one Sunday back in early March. So we're trying to get back in there, and I'd like to see a lot of people come out there for that. We're hoping that RIMPAC sailors will get interested in it because they keep sending us emails for volunteer projects, which is the last thing I'll leave you with, Larry. We want to get the RIMPAC sailors over to the cemetery as well.
Okay, let's
So
do it.
they're looking for meaningful community relations projects. And I
Okay,
told
well,
them,
I want to work with you with Joint Task Force Accounting.
Yes.
Because it's about time, Susan, the governor signs that bill. We need to go look for the lost grave sites. And they've got that ground penetrating radar.
Yes.
That they take overseas. It'd be a good exercise for the reservists.
That's
So I want to work with you, the office, to get that done.
Yes, sir.
But thank you. Any other questions, board members? We got to get moving.
Yeah.
Okay, Duna, thank you, and give
Thank you all for the
regards to Victor.
But you got an audience, doing
All right, and Chancellor Penaloza could not be here tonight. Vicky, are you online? Okay, Vicky, sorry to wait so long.
City Public Library. I just wanted to mention about our summer reading challenge program. So every year we do this. It's basically our program that we put out every year to encourage reading. So our theme this year is Mo'olelo, and we are celebrating the rich and varied stories in our communities. So that starts in June 1st and it goes all the way up until the end of July. And you can just register through the BeanStat app, or you can talk to any of the libraries and see how you can get registered in person. Besides that, I just wanted to also mention our, we're going to have author Malia Mauna Kea come in on June 4th at 5:30. She wrote a book called Lei and the Fire Goddess, and that was a Nene nominee for upper elementary school students. And we are going to have her come and give an author talk, and she'll answer any questions and talk about her writing. And she's also launching her new book, Lei and the Invisible Island. So we welcome everyone to come June 4th at 5:30. There are a lot of other programs, but I don't want to take up everyone's time. You can check out our listings at our library, or you can contact us or look at our website, librariesofhawaii.org, to see what's going on at the library. And that is my report. Thank you.
All right, Vicki, thank you so much. Let us know if there's any assistance for any support with the library. Board members, any questions for Vicki? Okay, virtual, seeing none. Vicki, thank you, and see you next month. Arlen, for Board of Water Supply, are you there?
Hello, I'm there.
All right, Arlen, you got it.
Good evening, board members. Last month, there were 3 water main breaks to report in Pearl City. April 19th, there was an 8-inch main break near 2352 Anini Place. And on April 26th, there was an 8-inch main break near 1380 Komomai Drive, and 8-inch break near 1714 Ho'olehua Street. General water announcement this month. Please visit boardofwatersupply.com/protect Oahu water to learn the latest about Board of Water Supply's operational actions in response to the Red Hill crisis. This includes weekly pumpage charts, recent drinking and monitoring well test results, BWS news and updates on Red Hill, water conservation tips and rebates, and Oahu's water history. That's the end of my report. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Arlen. And of course, here in Mobilani, the roads are all tore up, putting in new sewer lines. And I know everybody's got patience waiting for that. I do have a question here from Board Member Agard. Oh, Guy? Go ahead, Guy.
Hi, Arlen. I think I asked the question.
Louder.
Is this better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, thank you. Arlen, a couple months back, I asked about the potential 64% hike in the water bill. As by engineer Ernie Lau had mentioned on the news. How real is that, or what's happening, and are they going to go after the military for the monies that that might be dished out by us? Because Red Hill was actually caused by this Red Hill incident. Yeah, if you can respond back on that, because I asked the Dina Hodges several months back and no report. So thank you.
I can give you a brief response to that. So the Board of Water Supply's current Federal Tort Claims Act is for $1.208 billion. And yeah, I can give you a further update on that if you like by email. There's no status update at this
Okay,
time.
well, yeah, if you can share it with the entire board, that would be better.
Okay.
Because it's going to affect everybody. Thank you.
Okay, Arlen, thank you so much. And Guy, thanks for that question. Okay, moving on, Pearl City High School. Oh, we got to go ahead.
Very, very briefly, and for the future, be very useful to have, with respect to this housing issue, it'd be useful to have a report saying for each area, what is available capacity, for planning for how many more houses or ADUs and so forth. So, yeah, how many more houses or toilets or whatever could be installed in these areas around Pearl City?
Okay, I think that's gonna go to Director Albano on that one. Okay, moving on, Tony, anything from the PTSA? And by the way, thank you for all the support you gave to Pearl City High School for Project Grad.
No updates. Perfect.
Okay, how about Pearl City Community Association, since Kelsey's on travel? How about the school drive? What's the date of it?
School drive is
Hey, get your mic.
school drive is July 20th at Walmart from 9.
Yeah, so if you guys could buy some supplies, drop them in the box, and we'll be good. Good donations for Keiki for school. Okay, other than that, everybody received the April 23rd minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay.
Second.
And any discussion, any changes? Hearing none. If there are no issues, then consider these approved. Okay. All right, and really board meetings for other members. The only thing is I gave you guys updates on the testimony for all the bills that we went forward. Lastly, the gentleman that's here, I forgot your name. Yeah, you want to come up to the microphone and let the board know what you got for them next month? Yeah, he has asked for a presentation.
Yeah,
I just want to give you a heads up.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Lewis. I'm a grad student at UH, and I study Punuai Springs, and there's one in particular in Pualoa that's pretty damaged from the just the construction and a lot of invasive species. And it's important to protect those ecosystems as well as the cultural values that surround those springs. And so I have a restoration project that I'm trying to implement. And so I'd love to have your time to talk about that. And again, with all these we get 90% of our drinking water from groundwater, and these springs are a lens into the health of the aquifer. So it's really important. So I can give you guys these flyers when we're done. And I'd love to do a presentation at some point. I don't think I'll be able to make the next meeting, but maybe the one after. So, thank you.
Okay, and then if you could, as before you leave, make sure I get your point of contact information, because one of the issues that we have in Pearl City with these springs, the historic spot of Sunset Memorial Park Cemetery, the coffins keep collapsing. There's still people thinking that maybe because there was an underwater spring there. They think that there's still might be some problems with that. Maybe you could help us from UH.
Yep.
Determine that.
Yeah, my research is on springs around the whole island of Oahu, so happy to make connections elsewhere.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, board members, thank you so much. And I apologize, I'm 20 minutes over what I expected for our meeting today. Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21 next meeting will be hybrid, virtual, and in person, WebEx virtually, facilitated here at Momilani Community Center on June 25th. We're usually in recess, but we had to give up a recess date for March because of Prince Kahio Day. So it'll be June 25th here. The Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21 meetings are broadcast on Focus 49 and aired the second Saturday at 6 p.m. and the first and third Friday at 1 p.m. Other than that, I want to thank you all so much for all your support today. And this meeting is adjourned.
What did we? How was you?